Okay, so we're going to look now at just some basic functions inside Reason. Things like opening and closing a document, saving as, some of the preferences inside the edit menu, and then the create menu and what it does. So like any Word document or anything that you've got, all of these basic functions are inside the file menu. So if you want a new Reason document, you just go new, or you can see here on the right hand side that some of the commands have got a hotkey associated with them. So if I went File New, it's going to create a new document. If I go Control and N, it's going to do the same thing. So I'm going to do that because it's good to get used to using the hotkeys. So File N creates a new Reason document. You remember that you can't resize it horizontally, but you can resize it vertically if you need to by just grabbing the top or the bottom of it and moving it into the position that you want. Opening a document obviously is opening a document that you've already been working on. The browser window that comes with Reason always looks like this, and on the left hand side here you'll see the main folders that you'll go back to. If you need to go to My Computer, you need to click Desktop and then My Computer to get into the various drives where you might have your documents saved. These two folders here are all of the sounds that come with Reason. So if you need any sounds, this is where you're going to be looking, and then all of the various folders that are contained in those sound banks are listed down here on the right hand side. Closing a document is just closing a document, so the same thing. It will ask you if you want to save it, if you've done any work to it. Saving a document, go to Save, and always save it to a place where you know you can find it again. When you've saved a document, it will come up down here where the various documents you've been using are listed. Saving as is if you've changed a song somehow and you want to save the original copy as well. You'd go Save As, so you'd then have two documents. The second one you'd call something different from the first. Saving is a good habit to get into when you're working on a song that you like, and Control S is a good hotkey to learn. So if you've done 5 edits that you like, Control S, and the work will be saved. The edit menu contains various things that change at various times when you're using different devices, but the preferences option is useful sometimes when you haven't got sound or you've got a problem with your MIDI keyboard and things like this. So in the preferences menu, it's got this drop down menu at the top with general settings at the front. Reason comes as a default with a built-in song that's going to play when you first open it. You need to unclick that at some point to get an empty rack so you can make your own songs. And the other thing that Reason does is it loads various sounds into the devices that you use automatically. I like to unclick this as well here because I just want to search for my own sounds and I don't really need to hear what they think, the various sounds that they put in automatically. The audio preferences have to do with playback. So here I'm using an ASIO Inspire ASIO driver, but that's only because that's the sound card that I have. Your sound card will be something like a Realtek HD audio output, and this needs to be selected in order for you to be able to hear the song. So if you don't have any sound, immediately the first thing you'd do is go Edit, Preferences, and then to HD audio output. Your MIDI controller or your keyboard, which we'll be using in class, is in here, and if there's ever any issues with this, ask me and I'll help you out with this, but this is where Reason understands what's connected to it and how the MIDI controller works. So enough of preferences. If we're going to create a document or create a new sound, there's 2 ways to do it. Before we do anything in Reason, we need to always create a mixer 14:2. And this is so all of our sounds blended together and coming out of our headphones or our speakers if they're attached. So to create anything, create menu, and then just select what it is you want to create. This will bring it up in the rack, and hopefully it will be configured in the right way. So this is our mixer. And all of our sounds are going to go into each one of these, what we call channels of the mixer. The other way to create things in Reason is to use the tool window. If your tool window is not there, just go to the window menu and select the hide tool option or show tool option. There's also a hotkey there of F8. Okay, so we're going to be working initially in class on the Dr. Rex loop player, so I'm going to find that in my tool window, and you can also, instead of going create Dr. Rex loop player, we can go to our tool menu and we can just drag an instance of that device into the window, and it should work and patch itself in correctly. Now, whenever you bring anything into the rack, we need to make sure we understand how it's going in, where it's going in on the rack. So, before you create anything, if you're not doing something specifically that you know what you're doing, you need to deselect everything. So at the moment, if I select this by clicking on an area where there's nothing, just a blank area of the mixer, it will select the mixer and bring this blue box up around the outside of it. When we're creating something, we need to deselect whatever it is that's selected. So we deselect that by clicking in the black, and then you drag your loop player or whatever else you want into the rack. And this will allow us to then start making some music. You'll notice down here that everything that I take into the rack creates a separate, what we call track down here, and then this is where we're going to put all the information about how that instrument is going to be played.